You paid for the car. Then Hertz told the police you stole it. It happened to 364 people. They rented a car, paid every dollar, and got arrested for driving it. Chantal Higgs was in her nurse's scrubs on her way to work when the squad cars boxed her in. The officer asked if she knew the car was stolen. She thought he was joking. Look at the small thing in her glove box. A yellow and black Hertz key tag still zip-tied to the fob. It is the proof that she rented the car. In a courtroom, that same tag becomes the evidence that she stole it. One object, both stories at once. Tonight, the machine that turned paying customers into suspects takes the stand. Not one rogue clerk, a system, and it filed these reports by the thousand. James Tolan was a contractor, driving a rented pickup through Houston when the lights came up behind him. He did not know Hertz had reported that same truck stolen 3 months before he ever picked it up. 2 officers stepped out with their guns already drawn. In his own words, "As I turn around, I see both officers train the guns on me." He kept repeating the only thing that made sense to him. "That's impossible. I rent from Hertz. I'm a contractor." Later, he said he genuinely thought he would not make it home.
One honest aside, then straight back in. This channel is brand new, and right now a subscribe is the signal that tells me I am moving in the right direction. If a company turning its own customers into suspects is a story you want more of, it genuinely helps. Now, the machine.
Here is how an ordinary rental became a felony. The trigger was almost never a real theft. According to the complaint in Benson versus Hertz, filed in federal court in Florida, it usually started with a billing hiccup. A payment hold that failed on a card near its limit. Instead of a phone call, the system generated a theft report. Then the extension problem. A customer would call to keep the car another week, and the branch would say yes. But the unit that files police reports could not see the branch records. The complaint alleges Hertz's central systems failed to keep the extension on file at all. The car you were told you could keep was, on paper, overdue. John Iaub extended his Dodge Ram 7 separate times. He was charged $2,300 and paid it. Police still came to his house. He lost roughly 4 months to a jail cell, and by the time the charges were dropped, his business and his home. His summary of it was 4 words: everything turned into a mess. And it did not stop when they got the car back. Reporters at CBS documented cars that Hertz recovered, but never rescinded the stolen report on, then re-rented to a brand new customer, who was then pulled over for driving a car still flagged as stolen. The paperwork had a life of its own. Barbara Fernandez, a Hertz Gold member, watched 9 officers arrive in different cars. She showed them the contract and the record of every weekly extension. It did not matter. Her verdict on the company was 3 words: shame on them. Now the case for Hertz, made as strongly as it can be made. By the company's own figure, of more than 25 million rentals a year in the United States, the situations that end in a police report are 0.014%. At true industrial scale, even a well-run system produces a raw number that looks alarming while the error rate stays tiny. And this reads like a legacy failure, not a trap built on purpose. Different departments, different databases, no single source of truth. An extension logged in one system that the reporting unit never sees. That is the ordinary rot of a giant old company, not a plan to jail its customers. The timing matters too. On the 22nd of May, 2020, Hertz filed for bankruptcy, carrying about $19 billion in debt with roughly 700,000 cars sitting idle as travel collapsed. A crisis like that starves the budget that would have fixed the software. And new leadership moved. Stephen Scher took over as chief executive in February 2022, apologized on television, and inside a year the company had settled the vast majority of these claims. His stated aim: to lead a company that puts the customer first. Take all of that at full strength, then look at what it does not explain. Remember the 364. That is not the size of the problem. That is the number of people who fought long enough to be counted. Behind them sits a policy that a system's glitch cannot explain. Hertz's own rules required a local security manager to investigate a theft report and confirm it was accurate before it was filed. The complaint alleges Hertz instead directed those managers to, quote, skip the local investigation, and that training told employees to ignore the step entirely. If that allegation holds, then virtually every report went out unverified. That is a choice, not a bug. The attorney who has chased these cases since 2013, Francis Malafie, put it plainly. There is a difference, he said, between someone stealing a car and Hertz losing its own inventory because it is too cheap to fix its systems, then using the police as a taxpayer-funded repo service. His shorter line: it is an abuse at every level. Blake Gober, a Marine veteran, returned his rental to an airport counter and was arrested almost 3 years later during a traffic stop, facing up to 12 years. It was hell, he said. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. The prosecutor who dropped it wrote that the state had lost confidence in the reliability of the information provided by the victim. The victim, on that paperwork, was Hertz. One line before the verdict. We put one company on trial here every week, and the next defendant is already chosen. If you want to know who takes the stand next, subscribe. That is the only other ask tonight.
Here is my verdict. The 364, not guilty. They paid, they were never thieves, and the yellow tag in the glove box proved it every single time. The legacy software, guilty of negligence, but negligence alone I could almost forgive. What I cannot forgive is the instruction to skip the check, the failure to withdraw a report once the car was found, and the years spent fighting to keep the numbers sealed. That is not a company that broke down. That is a company that decided the police were cheaper than its own IT department. My stamp on this file reads outsourced.
Before sentencing, the appeal. 3 outside opinions flagged on screen, none of them edited.
I'd uphold the verdict. Legacy It can explain how the errors started, but it doesn't excuse choosing to file criminal reports without a real verification step, especially once the company knew paying customers were being treated like thieves. A rental company absolutely has the right to report a genuinely stolen car, but the line is crossed when a billing dispute, missing extension, or stale database flag becomes probable cause by default. Before police are sent after someone, the company has to check its own records, contact the customer, confirm the car is actually missing, and withdraw the report the moment that is no longer true.
The legacy IT argument explains how the fire started, but not why Hertz chose to let it burn for years while people's lives were ruined. Allegedly directing staff to skip manual verification transforms a technical flaw into a human policy, a conscious choice to risk customers' freedom rather than fix a known problem. The line is crossed when a company treats law enforcement as a cheaper, more powerful alternative to responsible record-keeping.
I keep looking for the accident in this, and I cannot find it. A payment hold that fails, a database that forgets an extension, those are accidents, and a decent company catches them with the phone call it already required. What turns an accident into this is the decision to delete the phone call, keep the report live after the car is home, and then spend years in court keeping the count secret. My honest read: the machine did not fail Hertz's customers. It did exactly what Hertz told it to do, and Hertz found it cheaper than the fix. That is the part no glitch explains.
For years, Hertz fought to keep one number sealed, arguing it would cause competitive harm. In February 2022, Judge Mary Walrath in the Delaware Bankruptcy Court ordered it released. The number was 3,365 theft reports, a year, every year. The bankruptcy was supposed to bury these claims in a process with no jury and no punitive damages. Judge Walrath ruled the other way. She let the claimants out into state court, where a jury could hear them. Kelly Grady had already shown what that was worth. A jury awarded her $100,000 for malicious prosecution, and Hertz settled rather than let the same jury decide punitive damages on top. In December 2022, Hertz agreed to pay $168 million to settle 364 claims. Do the division. That is roughly $460,000 per wrongful arrest, a price the company decided was cheaper than the machine that caused them. And it outlived the settlement. In November 2023, almost a year after the payout, a fresh case, Benson versus Hertz, was filed in federal court over a rental returned back in 2020. Senators Warren and Blumenthal had already demanded a federal investigation. The paperwork with a life of its own was still moving. Somewhere tonight, a yellow key tag is sitting in an evidence bag, still zip-tied to a fob, still proving two opposite things at once. That is the wound in this file, and a settlement check does not close it. Next on the docket, the airline seat that has quietly shrunk for 40 years, and the exact moment the industry started selling you back the legroom it took. That trial is next.